Thank y'all for coming. I'm so glad that Mayuko and Dennis are here to do this awesome talk. I like to call this sort of like the precursor to her big show at Galveston Arts Center in July. So if you haven't seen the new Arts and Culture Texas, please pick up a copy or go online because there's an article about Mayuko too. So we're really excited about that. I don't think Dennis needs any introduction because I mean everybody knows he's the curator at Galveston Arts Center. He worked at Lawndale. He worked at the Japanese consulate. I mean, he's a man of many talents. And Mayuko, she's been with us since about 2007, since I saw her thesis show at U of H. Fell in love with her drawing, and I still say, Jerry loved your work. Well, no, you say something different, but I know Jerry loved it. So we're just really honored to be showing this work. We've gotten a great response to the show, and people just can't believe that it's all graphite. And like how much, you know, and how big and detailed and everything. I love the work. I loved looking at it during the show, and I'm just glad y'all are here to talk about it. So I'm gonna leave y'all be, and then y'all take it away.
Thanks, Ivana. Thank you, Mayuko.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking me to do this.
She chose you.
Oh.
It was a mutual decision.
I'm really glad to be here. I'm also really excited for your next show. We're opening, as Iman mentioned, July 15th. It's like 1 month away. Galveston Arts Center. Saturday night, come down. There'll be a couple of these and more work. You're really.
Oh yeah, larger ones.
Yeah, you're like, these are the small ones.
Those are small ones.
I was like, wait, hold on, really? I know actually when I first met you, Mayuko, but like I feel like it's when I started at GAC. I worked at the Japanese consulate back in the mid-2000s after returning from Japan. We do have that in common. You're from Gifu, Japan.
Yeah, and you were in
I was
Gifu.
living in Gifu for 3 years teaching English.
Yeah.
I was in Gifu City. You were in Hashima, which is Shinkansen stop. So, like, literally one town over. So, that was really exciting to know when I was at GAC, starting there, meeting you. You were on the advisory board, helped immensely. We had a group of artists that would come every year to the Sister City program, and you actually were really essential in an exhibition we did with those two artists.
I came to beg you.
No, it was great. It was like, my Japanese is okay, but I can't like email like this the exchange that we need. So I was really excited. So in addition to those sort of peripheral encounters with you, I felt during my first couple of years in Galveston, every city I'd go to, your work would be in a solo show. I went to Laredo, you had to show up at the school there. I was in Lubbock at one point, you had to show up. It was nice to see, and I was like, okay, these are huge. We have this huge space, but they need to happen in Galveston. So thank you for agreeing to do that. I guess we just jumped right in. I mean,
I want to say one thing,
Please.
so I can thank you for doing this. In the last time I had this conversation with me, with Marcos Hernandez, and Mr. Clint Willauer, who's a model who was former curator. Yeah, you know, I'm sure he's sitting there and Jerry's there staring. So it's loving way.
In a loving way, no, I love it.
Yeah.
Clint is the best critic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, that's amazing. Yeah, Miss Clint, Miss Terry. But yeah, it's great to, you know, pick that up and move into this work. I guess we'll talk a bit about the work that's in this space. I heard your artist talk when the show opened, and I was really taken by your studio practice and how you are really disciplined in creating one drawing a month. When did you start that?
It's the COVID lockdown, like that really changed my daily life. So, and also I had a day job and I had to work with the schedule too, but yeah, first I really noticed I love staying home and just squeeze 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here, just go to studio and do the work instead of sitting at my office, And I was talking to someone, but I don't like to watch TV at night. Like, I think it's like the biggest time waste. And, so I started going to bed after like 5 or 6 o'clock. Yeah, so. Yeah, even that's when people waste time, Like, have some drink, watch TV shows, and so instead I decided to just go to bed and just wake up early and just squeeze some hours before I have to do, school work or whatever.
So early morning drawing, like 3 in the morning?
4.
Wow.
And I was always night owl.
Yeah.
So it's a big change.
So with COVID, that shit happened too?
Yeah, it's when I really, made it a concrete, the schedule. And also, too personal, but I'm taking these medications that makes me really sleepy anyways. So yeah.
Those life shifts, COVID. I just got a puppy, and that has now made me wake up at 5:30 in the morning, and I was like, who am I? But I do notice that making most use of your time. A lot of the scenes too are from your like living space and domestic kind of environment. Could you talk a little bit more about that as well? I'm gonna lean a lot to you because I'm gonna be coughing between each question. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. So I think like when I went to grad school, the thing I had the most issue was now you're grad students, do whatever you want. Like there was no assignment, right? Like when I was a student, I was good at getting teachers' assignment and do it, execute it. Now I had to come up with something good. So I think I tried a lot of projects. I did it once at 100 Jasmine's, my daughter, paintings and stuff. But I just started, and like one thing I struggled at the grad school was to be like smart and do the artist talk and what's happening in New York right now. Seminar class was the worst because I don't want to talk in the class. In seminar, you have to read the most recent article from Art News or forum. You have to discuss, and I'm like I don't have any political views. I don't have any culture thing I want to push or things. So I felt like I was a loser, I don't have this strong voice, But I think it just went to the point, and I had this near-death thing, and after I came out, I was like, yeah, this was a life I wouldn't have had, so I'm gonna do whatever I want, and I'm gonna draw my cats. Yeah, and I think there's a mystery in what I see, what I have at home. I don't have to feel like great ideas here, I have to find it. But the cat's amazing. So I started listening to a lot of self-help CDs and audiobooks. And the idea, energy and the matter are pretty much same thing. Everything's made of atoms and still lives. Even cartoon or half and half or whatever. It's composed of this atom, and atoms actually moving around, and it's actually 92% nothingness. Your body is also like that. It's a bunch of atoms, and so is the air around us, or the energy, emotions. I started to get really interested in that. So, instead of trying to go out to find something, but I wanted to really get in where I am, what I see. I just wanted to give more respect to what I have, what's around me. And of course my cats, like I love them, so like it's kind of a cliche, what you shouldn't do is like roses, babies, pets, right? Or like wine bottles, like, yeah, but like I'm gonna draw my cats, so like I'm gonna draw them. And yeah, and again, I started to listen to a lot of self-help books. And the one also I love is Eckhart Tolle. Does anybody know who Eckhart Tolle is? Yes, you do. Okay. Alright, so, and he says this, that he has lived with several Zen masters, all of them cats. Like, yeah, like, you know, I think I really like lived as a life like I was always like Julie knows, like when I went to school I was like a young broke mom. I was poor and I just wanted to finish my 2-year school. I wanted to get to the 4-year school, then I go to 3 years of grad school. Then I'm gonna be happy, and then I'm gonna have a house. I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna have a car. I'll be happy. And when the house paid off, I'll be happy. Like I was always, you know, looking forward to the future, and I really didn't stop to appreciate. And also again, after the surgery and after near dissing, like I actually couldn't move fast physically. So every moment I had to really focus to even grab something or move. And I think that's kind of where I decided I wanna really investigate in being here, things around me, and how precious everything is, and how everything's, nothing's forever, anything that takes a form will break sooner or later, including you all, this chair, this building. Like it's just, but we are here, so we should really appreciate being here. Like, so yeah, my work's kind of trying to be here, appreciate the cartoon of the milk and.
I see it really rooted though in like a very, like it's rooted in a tradition of still life, like memento mori, and this idea of you're taking your daily life and they stand in as symbols for, you know, that this is just one moment.
Mm-hmm.
But you even go further with that, with including the calligraphy, and you describe that as starting on the top right, exiting on the left, sort of being this course of from birth to death. So even in the inclusion of that, it's like further wrapping it into that. It's a very tradition, like very rooted in tradition style of one form of the calligraphy, but also like format of a still life. Because I was always taking, like, I'm not a super academic as well, and I'm always like, oh, I don't want to quote an artist and get it wrong, but I did do a little art history, and there, you know, that being able to encapsulate like life and that journey, I always thought was really like a great sort of format. But then with yours, it becomes personal because I'm getting to meet your cats. I think I asked you before too, like, what are your cat's name? And you're like, oh no, you're gonna know all my passwords now. So it's like, it could be the same. So there's like something really personal to it, but it's not, and you talk about I struggled a bit when you talk about your near-death experience, and like, I don't find, like, sometimes it goes morbid in my mind, but when looking at this work, they don't seem morbid, they seem to really celebrate just what's right there in front of you, and like, finding that beauty in that moment. I mean, they're drawings of cats, yes, but they're really beautiful drawings of cats, like, so thank you for making them. Yeah, I was just reflecting on that. I was like, well, you know, do we focus on the format of the work, the content of the work? I think it is important. I'm knowing my little bit of background in Japan too. I am fascinated with the way that you study Japanese calligraphy, and I know that working with a brush was really helpful when I started studying Japanese in Japan, because the importance of stroke order specifically with kanji characters, really shifts like their legibility and the calligraphy components. It's drawing a beautiful line that is sometimes illegible. Could you talk a little bit more about the characters or the proverbs that you choose and how you manipulate? Because you're going from a background working in a brush to now working with pencil too, so that shifts.
Yeah. So the initial idea of incorporating my calligraphy, or actually I started just with calligraphy and no images, items with I saw paintings by Dr. Isaac Albush. He was a retired Egyptian physician who was taking painting class under my husband, Mark Greenwald's class. And his painting was his Arabic calligraphy. That's what he painted, was the calligraphy. So I was like, wow, I should do that with my work too. Like, I already had the squiggle lines in my earlier works, but it was more idea of like subconscious mind is tied to me with this chord. So I did have loopy ideas, but when I saw his work, I was like, oh, I'm gonna play with that. And like traditional like Asian scrolls have images and the poem on top. So I was like, yeah, I want to do something like that. So that's how it started. And again, I went into the self-help junkie road, and I like studied a little bit of different religions, but I think proverbs are more like immediate, like more, like, I don't know, more like close to me, like there's no pretension, and they're kind of like funny, and like those proverbs must have had been, I don't know who made the proverbs to begin with, there's no author attached to it, but there's so much truth to it. And I'm also interested in the human emotions. Like we all have this, happiness, sadness, we all have them. Why? Like, like I'm interested in that too. But
So it's sort of like I don't know, truisms of a sort, or they're universals, like they cross languages as well, because several of the proverbs in the titles, and even the show in Galveston coming up, you titled it was 7 steps forward, or wait, 8 steps forward.
full 7 times.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's parallel to like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. It's like they exist across languages, even though there's some variation, they still hit like a core meaning or core like understanding of like, in that case, progress and challenge of progress.
Yeah.
I find that interesting too. So it's rooted in, you're working with Japanese language and calligraphy, and the vocabulary is from there, but the translation, like if you were to literally translate each one, they're probably an equivalent that the sentiment carries over as well.
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated with the use of language and text in work too, because it's not an easy thing to accomplish, because if it becomes so identifiable, there's like, it can be hit or miss with a lot of work, but adding that component of language, I think, and I've said this many times, because my background was language equal with arts, and I feel like both are ways that we can like express ideas that sometimes are, sometimes language fails us, where like a different art form could fit in to sort of express that idea. So you've managed to marry the two in a way. When choosing your proverbs and the scenes, do you, in each of these, do you try to make sure that the images are speaking to the proverb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but I usually start with the image.
Start with the image.
And I try to Google, like, proverb for like this occasion or something like that. Yeah. And another thing I was thinking was, so like, there's the left side of the brain, right side of the brain thing. So like, I forgot which one's for the art. Art is like right brain, and the math and the language skills on the left. But like, so I since I was small, I did calligraphy. So calligraphy is actual writing, but for me, it was like trying to see master's copy, trying to translate stuff. So I have a feeling that calligraphic line was already like in the right side of the brain instead of the left. Like when it comes to like making sentences, left, but
So we sort of use both parts of your brain.
yeah. But yeah, and I am aware that many people cannot read, even though you can pick up each character, because I make sure the title is exact proverb written out in Japanese and underscore whatever English title I want to give it. So it's kind of like foreign music. Like you can't understand the language, what the lyric is. I want the rhythm to be pleasing.
Right, you can follow the patterns of the rhythm.
So yeah, I do also, use a line for like, reasons, for the pictorial plane, so it's more interesting.
Right, so
Yeah.
stepping away from it once you have that proverb decided, and then just not trying to stay true to the exact form.
No, they start to disappear. Yeah.
One thing shifted, you have this work and you have another one that was Christmas, where you actually have arranged a still life rather than, I know you have a series where you've done a drawing of yourself a year, scenes from around your house, but these works were actually composed and arranged.
Yeah.
What was the shift that moved you in that direction? Could you talk more about that?
Yeah. So I may be honest with that drawing. I had many shows coming up, so I was trying to make works that's like long this way, so excuse me, so I can crank up more works. Yeah, but it ended up that took so long because it has so much details.
Right.
So then I wanted to celebrate the Valentine's. It was February. So I wanted to create this like altar or dreamy landscape of a Valentine, pretty love kind of thing. So I did have so still lives, I had them set up, take photograph, take down, and just still life take down. So I did actually have to arrange that a little bit in Photoshop. Yeah.
It's like you like chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you went crazy at the holiday aisle at the local Walgreens or the dollar store too.
Yeah. Also wanted to make it like, oh, I used to love this candy, or
Right.
like something. And you can see my two cats hiding in there, right? Because they are my loves. So they happen to be in this dreamy landscape of Valentine stuff.
So with going back to your monthly drawing, have you found that you're now, because you do a drawing a year of yourself,
Yeah.
and then are you finding that you're revisiting on those other months? It's like, okay, when, this February we'll do Valentine's Day, this December we'll do Christmas. Do you find yourself like now developing a pattern 3-4 years into that monthly?
I think so. Like it's just celebrating, like, oh, I'm still here, and this is months of, whatever. Why not celebrate it? I mean, it can be corny, cheesy, but.
But it's I find it really great too as the work grows and as you make more. That it's like it is too. It's like now marking time. Like in your practice, it's a monthly practice. But then there's this. Oh yeah, this is February, and then this is your birthday month. So it's like you get to sort of while you're living in the moment, you're like documenting a period of time.
Yeah.
And that's like a really interesting way to see like the whole body of work as it grows as well. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if it fails, it's just one fair drawing. We'll go on next.
Well, I know, but like they're so large though too, because I feel like if I were to give myself like, okay, I'm gonna do this once a month, I feel like I can make one drawing a month. but you went huge, like they're larger than you, so it's a really physical like task as well. I mean, you've been very, I feel like on social media platforms, you share your process too, and it's a lot of labor involved in that as well. So
Yeah, like the calligraphy part, it's really gestural to begin with. So yeah, a lot of the things I hear is it's so clean. Like I erase the heck out of the things. Like my studio has a wall. I pin the paper, and on the floor I create like a gutter system. So as a job,
you have like a little.
Yeah.
What's the word with the leftover of the eraser bits? It's like that.
Crumbs.
Crumbs, yeah.
No.
They need their own word.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't want my work to be like you said, memento mori, or this skull and this time clock sound thing, it's
but it has those elements in a way though for me too, without like the heaviness. It's still there for me. That it's sort of a way to like root it in a tradition of like making, composing ideas. But embedding like a little bit of Whataburger there. It's like there's interesting moments to jump into. I mean, so.
I don't want my work to be too serious.
But you work so seriously. It's funny. It's like a lighthearted thing, but then it's like very, very like rigorous in terms of making too. So. Yeah,
because I want to make use of my time here, so I don't want to waste it.
That's great.
You can die tomorrow.
I know, right? Makes me think of like a project with like a pile of to-dos. It's like, have you found yourself when you're like in this though? Like, do you have little side things that you find yourself doing in your studio? Where you're like, oh, I need to make a small drawing because I need to take a break from this giant thing.
I was supposed to make small drawings for this show. I couldn't. I should have made small ones. Because at the commercial gallery, small works sell better. Don't say it. I should have made it because I need to sell some works.
Yeah, that's another driver factor, sure. No, but I don't know, I think that's the laser focus, like staying and completing the thing I really admire. Because I'm one that's like, oh, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes, and a month passed, and maybe like one thing was done. Speaking of time, though, are we good on time?
We're good.
Okay.
You can. It's the questions.
You can ask some questions, or
Yeah.
if there's anything that
The looping, is it yarn or string or what? Is it meant to draw it together or frame it or?
hasn't. No, we should describe that.
Yeah, so
What is it?
it is a Japanese letters, characters. So Japanese writing goes top to bottom, right to left. So this is the first character.
Now I see it.
This.
Oh my.
So I lace them out and I start connecting like it's a playing game.
Yeah.
So there's one entrance on top. It's like how you're born to this place. Oh, I have my body. And you go through the life and there's one exit which is like you're dead. Where do you go? You don't have your body.
Right.
Like it's kind of playing with stuff. So yeah, again, I'm trying to make it look like brush strokes, but I think it's got the more like garden hose.
I see it. I see it.
Yeah, it does have a
No,
mark.
I totally see it now that you say that. But before I just thought, what is it?
Squiggly lines.
Well, or yarn or
Yeah.
string or cord. Yeah.
But the kanji characters, though, I guess if you could make out, even like, I know my proficiency is so low, but it's like, it's even harder to read because you've manipulated it. I mean, it's the same is true in the traditional calligraphy mode. Sometimes it's like, oh, that's like really difficult to read. I guess it'd be the same, the way I understood it, studying was when you learn cursive. I mean, do people still learn? Do students still learn cursive? Before I learned cursive as a child, I couldn't read cursive. But this is taking it even like it's cursive, like pushed even further and gone back.
Yeah, so even with Japanese calligraphy, like beginners are like one letter at a time. More you advance, you start connecting, you start actually doing like the ultimate cool calligraphy is like one line done.
Right.
Like I never got to that stage, but I thought it was always so cool.
Yeah, I've seen that work done too, and it's just like the closest I could equate it to just in writing like Roman characters would be the difference between writing in print and writing in cursive. Just it's different. I mean the same is true with writing in calligraphy in the English language. There's specific techniques and forms, but that line that just continues and connects everything. So where you're not picking up your pen or your brush from one character to the next.
Yeah.
So, which to me was always so much like it was kind of more of a freeing thing because learning the script in the language that was very much structure and order. It's like, no, you start here and you move this way and move to the next where your character is not deformed. But when you push into the calligraphy, it was like, well, they're breaking all the rules. It's like they're just moving from one to the next, but it's still held, the same structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I have a question. It's very practical. How do you care for these when they're off the wall?
I spray fix outside, and after that I let them dry a few days, and I use glassine paper. You can buy 60 inches roll from U-Line. So I place that on top and roll them up and stick it in tube.
In tubes.
I have another practical thing. The blacks that you get are just so amazing. And I was sort of looking at this one the other day, and it seems like some of the blacks are warm and some are cool. So I thought, oh, that maybe is a difference in pencils. What sort of pencil do you actually use?
I use the darkest area I use is a Mitsubishi pencil 10B. And I do notice when I use different brand,
Yeah.
some are like warmer, some are cooler. I haven't played with that. Like right now I'm just using mixture.
Okay.
But definitely darkest is Mitsubishi 10B. And there are other pencil companies that claim it's 11B, 12B, but no, they're not as dark as Mitsubishi 10. Yeah.
The sponsorship from them.
I like hashtag the hell out of it, like Mitsubishi
Send me
pencil.
boxes.
Right?
But that's like really true though too, because you had mentioned the pen you use, and I think another artist who works in craft, like Robin O'Neill, who was in Houston for quite a while, she works similar in the same way. It like swears by this like one specific utensil, and it's like that's what I use and that's what works. So.
Yeah. You start to have like a favorite, like for like 3H, 5H, I like the Tombow pencil better. Like, yeah, weird, yeah.
I have another practical question. Okay, I've done some large papers where I painted on them, and I know that usually it's just the edges that are fragile because you might, as you're handling them, hit the edge of something. It looks like you put some sort of little line around the back side of these. Is that a little paper or something? It just seems like
Yeah, so I didn't do this in the beginning, and I didn't have the tearing accidents. So I do have linen paper.
oh, linen. Is it linen tape?
Linen tinting paper. So yeah, I glue that all the edges so you won't tear.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just sort of noticing that and going, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and also this hanging tag helps with the, hanging.
Yeah.
I know some people I know Mr. Clint love the magnets, but it does leave indentation.
Yeah.
But this way, if you wanna frame it just to hold it to cut it. And of course, it's archival, acid-free, yeah, didn't take.
That's great.
Can you talk a little about scale? Because it's interesting, you're talking about all these domestic objects, but then there's this totally not domestic scale to your drawings. Is there something that you like about that incongruity, or is it just you like to work big, or? Because they're impressive, I mean, these are smallish ones for some of your work.
Yeah, I think I just like to work big.
Mhm.
And also going inside of small cap, you actually magnify small areas large. It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's probably closer to actual scale. Even building in the cat might be shifted slightly, but you do tend to blow up or
Yeah.
zoom in on something to where you're not
Yeah.
doing a one-to-one.
It's something that I have to really give a thought because I just like to draw it. It feels good. And I think it also gives more impact in a way. I'm not sure. But it's just size I'm comfortable with. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Maya.
Oh.
Thank you guys for being here too.
Thank you. Arigato
Arigato
gozaimasu.
Thank y'all for coming today. We definitely cannot wait for the Galveston Arts Center show. I'm very excited.
And if
When
you
is
come
that?
down to, it'll open July 15th. And if you come down before then, or then you can also see June West's work on our second floor as well as currently on view as well. So could you please come to Galveston?
All right, thank y'all so much, everybody.